terrible.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to episode 4 of One More Shot. I am your host, Shane Wynn. These are my guests, Kenzo Onishi and Matt Kyle. I apologize for the delay in streaming. As always, I say 2 p.m. and then it's 2:30. I am new to streaming and not great with technology. There's a big learning curve, and I thank you all for your patience. I started setting up about 2 hours ago, and my computer decided it did not want to finish restarting, and OBS does not want to detect all of my cameras, so the battle cam view this week will be a little janky. Let's see here. Before we jump in, I'd like to thank everyone who's been watching. I'm taking notes on how to improve, and I appreciate any and all feedback. Feel free to blast the chat, blast my YouTube channels, my Instagram, my link tree, which I've now set up, is available in the description. If I haven't made it clear, this stream is intended to be a place of creativity, a little bit of fun, a little bit of chaos. In the case of last week's episode, maybe a more serious tone. I want this to develop based off of what viewers are requesting. I'm hoping to build a fun community, a fun outlet, and something that is unique and different. If you have monsters or creatures that you want to see, or players that you liked, or characters that you liked, please feel free to reach out and I will try to be as responsive as I can. I am using Dungeons & Dragons because it's a system I know well. I really love the system. I love the settings. It's something that I'm going to stick with for a while. I will eventually open up to other systems. I know that there are other fun games and modules to play with, but for now it's going to be D&D. I will eventually be putting together some merch, specifically the one-shots that I have done and will do. I will work towards putting them into PDFs that can be available for purchase. So if you have a campaign and you need a quick little module to plug in to buy yourself some time or kind of mix things up a little bit, I will also, or maybe you just are having a fun weekend and you want to throw a quick one-off to a few friends. One-shots are nice in that they are nice bite-sized little compact games that can be done hopefully in a couple of hours, but as Dungeons & Dragons players are wanting to do, they take your DM's plans and throw them out the window. That said, when there's only 2 players, it's harder, but that does not mean they will not try their darndest. That said, let's jump in. Kenzo, Matt, why don't you introduce your characters to the audience?
Well, you go first.
Okay. Hello, I am Matthew Kyle. I will be playing the High Elf Wizard Zavin. He is bronze-skinned, white-haired, golden-eyed individual. He is, as we have just decided to call him, he is Time Wizard. So be prepared for time shenanigans. Also, he likes messing with gravity. Have fun.
Okay, my name is Kenzo Onishi. I am a Warforged Druid. I have this sort of deep copper toned metal, but if you get a chance to look closer, it is covered in burns and smoke marks that just dot my entire being. I am a Circle of Wildfire Druid, which means I have a lot of things that burn and a lot of things that restore. And combined with a Time Wizard, I'm sure that's going to be a wonderful mess.
So basically we have one bad day away from Scorched Earth policy and a Time Lord. So, how did these two run into each other? That's a great question for another episode. We're going to skip ahead to when they already know each other and have been traveling together for some time. You guys find yourselves traveling the distant snowy peaks of the Turlovsky mountain range. It is cold as balls. You both have different reasons for wanting to be here. You want to cause a flood to help wash out a valley that you have scorched at this point, and there's a lot of things in the area that you, after looking through it, realize that it's not going to be sufficient for you to simply burn the area. You need to wash it away into the ocean where the particulates can be dispersed, and with enough time, things will improve. You have a hunch. There's something up here that you're looking for, that you are drawn to, as you are always drawn to. And if it's not here, there's a clue to where it may be. So So as you guys are walking up this mountain, it is cold. There are howling winds all around you, and you are both fairly durable folk. You being a warforged of wildfire, and you being a wizard of time, can endure a lot of things. But one thing that definitely gets to you both is when it is really cold, and through your winter furs or protective gear, whatever a warforged would have, you're not immune to cold. That's right. You're not resistant either. It's
No.
You're just resistant to poison, though, right?
Yeah, and disease.
And disease. Okay, so.
Well, you're immune to disease.
That said, you feel,
Pretty resistant
or
to it.
you detect the joints in parts of your body are starting to lock up as the cold wind is free. Yeah, it's like Tin Man. Someone needs to give you an oil can. And you are just cold. Your ears are cold, your feet are cold, your hands are cold, your butt's cold. But you are wrapped up, and yet this biting chill is pressing in on both of you from all sides. It is difficult to see, and you guys are going at an incline. What do? It is about, we'll say, midday.
Fucking god damn it, it's cold.
You are correct. Do you happen to see any shelter, rocks that we can hide in?
Make me a perception check.
8.
7?
You see snow. You see that it is cold.
Sorry, 9.
Well-
Doesn't make a difference, but
If you give me... Fuck, it's cold. If you give me 10 minutes, I can make us a little house.
no, it is fine. I create a bonfire in front of us with the cantrip create bonfire. So I focus a little bit, and you can see some of the copper starts to like heat up, and then you watch as sort of I produce sort of a little bit of tinder and sort of put it on the ground. Some of it gets blown away, and then you just watch about a 5-foot bonfire erupt from that spot.
It is much like when you go from cold water of a pool to the hot water of a hot tub and shock your system. It is just suddenly this column of blaze that warmths you both. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, the bonfire, does it last, or is it something that is it something you can concentrate on, or is it just a brief...
It's concentration up to a minute.
Okay, so you guys have a minute to kind of slow rotisserie chicken your asses to kind of fight off some of the chill. That helps for a minute. You can keep doing it, but then you're still out in the cold, slowly roasting around a bonfire while a blizzard is essentially blowing all around you.
Do you want me to make the house?
Well, if we can look for some shelter, we can continue our journey, but we see fuck all.
Correct. I say I just build the tiny house.
Go for it.
I reach into my coat and pull out a little, about double the size of a golf ball that has a little clock that is stopped at the top of it. And out of that is a projection of my book that I sit on the ground in front of me and begin to ritually cast Leomund's Tiny Hut.
Okay. So, Leomund's Tiny Hut, by description, I thought it was a literal hut when I first encountered the spell. In practice, it is essentially a magic bubble. And what's nice about this spell is that it can buffer out temperatures from outside, so you can climate control the inside effectively. And you can be safe from most spells and attacks, and acid and poison. It's just, if you're able to get this spell off, it's very nice, and it's an adventurer's best friend. You guys simmer down. You create the bonfire again, probably to just kind of heat the place up a little bit more, but let the smoke out.
Yeah.
You know, hotbox yourselves.
It's okay. I don't breathe.
I do, let's not.
Oh, I forgot about that.
You guys sit down, and you have your little bubble. Do you go to camouflage, or do you just leave it as is?
I probably would lighten the exterior to make it closer to like the snow around us in case something does see it. Just to make it think, oh, it's just like a mound of snow. And then it will last for 8 hours, so we have some time to hopefully not die from a blizzard.
Okay.
and let the blizzard chill out a little bit.
So let me make a roll here.
And you can stick your head in and out of it. I can't, but you can.
Okay, so what I just did as the DM is I rolled to see if a random encounter happens. Some DMs do scale of 1 to 20, some do 1 to 5, 1 to 10. It's really just to see, what are the chances something happens across the party. So I just rolled a natural 1. I would say that means nothing happens. Next 5, 6 hours, the blizzard continues. Now I'm going to roll percentile die to see if the weather improves, gets better or worse. And I'm going to use 2d10s. I also have
Big
a
old ball.
giant d10 ball floating around here somewhere. I'll find the sphere later. Probably grab it on the break. But in the meantime, okay. So I got a 93. I'm going to say that the weather improved greatly. The blizzard has died down. You guys now have a much better field of vision. It is just a heavy snowfall at this point. The wind is much calmer, and as everything has kind of settled down, you can see around you. Make me a perception check.
11.
7.
7-11. Okay. You spot this little pop-up store. No, I'm just kidding. Big 7 on. No, okay, no copyright. So, you guys are looking about. There's not much to see, except for post-snowfall, a mountainside is stunning. The pristine landscape, hiding your tracks even. As you look behind you, there's no evidence of where you came from. There's no evidence of movement all around you. The sky, while still heavily overcast, and snow has fallen down in droves and occasionally covering the hut, you brush it off and are able to look outside. Path looks good and clear. You guys are set to go if you want to continue.
Yes, so as we clear out, I can see if I can locate the lake. And I will pull a card from I'll pull out my Taroka deck and I will start shuffling through it, and I will cast Locate Object and say lake. Because that's what we're looking for, correct?
Right, okay. And so with that, it's so this is a fun magic item from Tasha's, I believe. Or
Yes,
is
it is.
Okay. It's a new item from Tasha's Cauldron. And let me pull it up really quick. So you're
Casting Locate Object. So I'm looking for a lake within 1,000 feet of us, if it exists there.
How do you spell it again real quick?
Locate.
The locate object?
The item real quick.
Luba. It's just
Luba's Taroka.
Okay. So you're
Casting Locate Object, which is one of the spells you can cast. I'm using Locate Object as a hopeful means of locating the lake.
okay. So first of all, I've got whenever you use this deck, there's a chance that something escapes, right?
No, that is only if I use Twist of Fate.
Oh. Okay.
Only if I try and change fate does fate decide to throw a curveball.
Okay, cool. So this is just a regular old casting a spell, nothing crazy possibly happening.
Not yet.
Not yet. So locate object is
Doesn't specify if it has to be what the object can be. Would I be able to use this in terms of locating a lake?
How about this? How about you roll me a
If I said water, I'd be in trouble.
there's water everywhere, technically.
Snow.
No, let's get creative with this. This is not a location without some significance to it. So maybe there is an object within this lake that is significant enough that you could be naming the object of the lake. How about you roll me okay. So history or nature?
Nature.
Okay. Nature check for you. You can make a history check if you'd like to aid them.
Good.
So you might be able to name the rock of the something or other lake.
23.
20 total.
Okay, 20 total. So between both of you kind of thinking about what's something good to ping about this lake, you know that there is not a statue per se, there's simply a rock face that is naturally shaped in the shape of an animal. We'll say it's in the shape of a falcon. Falcon's Head Peak. Or Falcon's Crest. The name is not important. You're just thinking of that object because that's a good way to hone in on the lake. And it's 1,000-foot radius, and you're able to concentrate it on
10 minutes.
10 minutes. Okay, so you guys are able to kind of trek and move and see how long you can hold it to ping it. So I'll say make me a investigation check with advantage as you guys are moving, trying to see if you can hone in on where it is.
7.
1,000 feet is pretty wide. You guys are not quite at the top of the mountain yet, so you know it's not close per se, but it's worth checking to see how close you are as you make your way over the next 10 minutes closer and closer to the peak. You guys don't get a ping.
It's in, as my hand rotates in a circle, it's in that direction.
That, what? That's not a direction.
Nope. Yes, you're right. It is in that direction. My hand's still rotating. I'm trying to stop it. The cold might be affecting my gears.
Oh.
Oh no, where's my D4? Why do my D4s keep running away on me?
Would your eyesight or time wizardry have some way of locating this?
Let me... Sadly, I don't think locating it is going to quite help
What
with this.
did the guide say? Was it left at the fork? Or was it something else? We've gone quite a ways past that fork.
That is very true.
As you guys begin discussing how to possibly find this lake, there is a kind of a rumbling off in the distance. Think like you're looking at the top of the mountain, and then way to the left, like you hear kind of like a but way off, way out there, and it's just kind of echoing throughout the region.
Interesting.
Did you hear something?
Yes. Something thumping?
Are you hungry? Is it your stomach?
No. It was something else. But I am worried about it. So I'm going to help make sure you can do things a little faster.
Oh no.
So I'm going to cast the
Not
spell.
this again. Oh god.
Gift of Alacrity.
Alacrity.
So I touch a willing creature. For the duration, the target can add 1d8 to its initiative rolls.
Okay.
And it lasts for 8 hours. It takes me 1 minute to cast this, by the way.
Okay, so you got a boost to acting quickly for the next 8 hours. Is that correct?
Yes. Should we get into a fight?
Okay, so let me pull some info
Cast the
up.
spell real quick.
You cast that spell. Is there anything else you do in the meantime?
After I cast a spell on him, I guess I would try to discern where the noise, like the direction the noise was coming from more specifically. If that is entirely feasible?
I don't know. Your guys' perception checks have been kind of garbage, so why don't you make me one hell of a perception check to see if you can narrow down. You already know what direction it's coming from, so what more information are you going for?
You helped me, so I will help you. I open the Tarot deck again, and I will use Twist of Fate. You have advantage on attack rolls, ability checks, and saving throws for the next hour.
Okay.
So you're using Twist of Fate.
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Let me double check the numbers here.
Was that all zeros?
Maybe.
Is that...
That's...
That'd be 100.
It's fine.
It's fine. We're fine. Everything's fine.
You watch as like I'm reading it for a moment. You feel this sort of divine energy. You feel the wind almost blow in your direction. It seems to be going favorably, and then the wind just sort of gracefully just continues.
To answer your question, Shane, I'm going to attempt to see if I can discern a little bit better what potentially the noise could be, or see if I can find some kind of trail through the snow to help us get to the lake that we're trying to get to.
15 to 100 is fine. It's lower.
Okay, so let me resolve these things. So you did Gift of Alacrity so that they're ready to go.
Yeah.
You did Twist of Fate with your deck, so potentially one of the souls trapped in the deck is about to get released. And you want to perceive what?
I want to try to perceive a path to the lake through the snow, or
path forward.
Yeah.
Little more vague.
Yeah.
Okay.
Path forward.
Make me a perception check, and I'm gonna roll to see if something happens.
Okay.
Okay.
Duh.
Tell me when you're ready.
Nothing.
I got a 21.
No souls escaped today. 21 perception. Okay.
21.
With the snowfall being just heavy, you are able to quickly take kind of a gauge of the paths available to you. Surrounding you guys are always those pockets of forest, and so as you kind of crane your neck and start looking around some of the trees as you guys are moving forward, you look up and you see a path that leads up to where it starts to turn into cliffs. The incline is higher, but there's more spots for you to start careening your way up closer to the peaks of the mountain. As you guys are doing this, the thumping is getting louder. With your 21 perception, it sounds like heavy footfalls, given the rhythm.
Heavy falls, something large?
Do you want me to fly us out of here? Kaka style.
The only thing I'm worried about is, granted,
It's either we walk through the snow or I kaka us the fuck out of here.
You know what? Let's go with your caca plan.
Okay, I will use a wild shape, and so I will turn into a giant eagle.
Okay.
And I will just grab your shoulders and just...
So really quick. So here's just kind of a fun concept about a Warforged being a druid. Do they stop being metal? Do they shift into an organic mass? Or do we have a badass transformer druid?
As you watch, it is a mix of both. I do not get the same metal plating. As the rules state, I do not keep the armor statistics. So most of the metal will disappear, but there are still elements of this eagle as you watch that are still looking mechanical. As you notice some of the claws, as though it may be it's skin and bone, there might be pieces of metal sort of plated and grafted onto certain parts. And you recognize, as you've traveled with me for a while, that my eyes and things, they still have the same sort of metallic hue to them that they did before. And as I transform into this semi-metallic bird, I do grab you and start to flap up to see if we can see what this sound is. I have better perception now.
Okay, so Falcon Zord away. The patchwork steampunk organic mix bird appears, lifting up this wizard who kind of just does T formation. They start flying up, and as it is with flying, you're moving quicker, but damn, that wind is cold. It's a little less on you. You're a little better able to deal with it in this form. It's pretty fucking chilly, even with your heavy furs, so you just kind of close your eyes and let your eagle friend observe, or do you try to keep your eyes open and look for this thing?
I probably would keep my eyes open to try to...
So you will make it a disadvantage because you have no
So one roll.
eye bobble protection unless there's something you can think to do to finagle your ability to perceive at this height and speed.
Sadly, I don't have anything that would allow me to do that unless I stuck 2 ink bottles over my eyeballs. But I don't think that would work. So
just reaching into his packs.
two raccoon eye imprints afterward.
but I'm not going to do that because I don't want to waste my ink. It's important.
Okay.
So I still try to keep an eye out as best I can.
All right. No looking at my screen, by the way, because
You're good.
I have no DM screen at this point in time. I'm working on it in the future.
Okay.
So,
16.
wow, with disadvantage, you're rolling better.
Well, you have to keep in mind, with my Taroka thing, he has advantage on pretty much everything for an hour.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
as the wind is even buffering him in the eyes.
Oh, so then would it be a straight roll?
It's
Yeah,
a straight.
that's what I did.
That's what a
Okay,
straight.
thank you.
And can I roll as well because I am
Eagle.
eagle.
And you have keen sight.
I
this
do
time.
have keen sight now.
So whereas this, yeah,
Whereas my Warforged is not as keen. Now I am eagle sight.
eagle keen.
Eagle robot I was.
14.
14, 16. It's not hard to miss at this height. That's a frost giant. A frost giant is a large, or sorry, I should say to be, size appropriate, a giant. In terms of size distribution, it goes like tiny, small, medium, large, huge, giant. So takes up a lot of space. Very tall, easily like 20, 30 feet tall. This creature is wearing heavy leathers. Like, you think to yourself, oh, someone has like a deer hide buckskin set up. That's like maybe half a deer to cover them. No. This guy has like the whole herd of deer. He has boar skin, and it's this. It would look ramshackle and patchworky, but it's actually a very intricately layered set of armor that is protecting him from harm. Normally, frost giants would be bare-skinned out in the cold, as the cold does not bother them at all, but this one seems prepared for something. He has heavy weapons on his back as he's getting ready for something. He is looking about quite earnestly as you guys are flying overhead. And I'm going to roll to see if he spots them. No. Giant is not perceptive, even in the snowfall's distracting him, and whatever he's looking for, it's obviously not a random pair druid wizard flying off as a mechanical bird in T formation. That said, you spot the giant. He is lumbering around looking for something. He's batting aside trees like they're tall grass, and you guys hear this as they go falling off to the side.
Okay, as we're flying up, how close are we to at least getting a good vantage point?
So, in order to get like a better vantage point of the rest of the range, you'd probably want to go up another 400 feet.
And then will we still have sight of the giant there?
Yeah.
Okay.
He'd be way down there at that point, but you'd be able to kind of get a good bird's eye view.
Forgetting that I can't communicate with you, I just...
Well, for that, I reach into my coat and I pull out a little metal wire and speak into it and just say, okay, I think we should climb higher and avoid the giant because I don't want to fuck with the giant. You can respond to this message.
Okay. Does that work with eagles?
Well, you pointed at a creature, and...
You point your finger toward a creature within range and whisper a message. That target, and only that target, hears the message and can reply in a whisper that only you can hear.
Yeah. Here's the only problem.
That's what you hear.
You hear squeaks of a bird in response. I get a little ambience for the blizzard here, folks. I don't know, let's see how the sound level on that is looking.
You hear screeches. Eagle screeches as that's my response. As I start to fly up pretty fast. I have 80 feet of movement.
Okay. Eagles are ridiculous. So, as you try to communicate with him, at this point you would know yes or no questions are probably like, or just all you can do is really talk at them and they can respond later.
Yeah.
So, you begin flying up. You spot the giant, easy enough, and you're now 500 feet up in the air, and you're looking out and about. You have a pretty good vantage point and realize you don't see a lake anywhere in view. Visually, you can see the whole of the mountain range all around you, dotted with snow-covered pine trees, and you see many slopes and cliff faces that have snow occasionally tumbling off of them. As you look towards the apex of the peaks, you see, at this point, you would spot it without needing a perception check. You see what looks like, I don't, again, don't want to copyright, for lack of a better term, the Fortress of Solitude kind of going on, where there's lots of crystal prisms of ice, not all collected in one space per se, but that kind of visual dotting the landscape in different places. They're not all bunched up like in a singular fortress, but like those kind of like jagged, snow-covered crystals are all throughout the peaks at this point, as you get higher and higher up.
So I think we might be looking for like an underground lake. I'm assuming. Right? I keep forgetting you're a fucking bird. God damn it. It's fucking cold.
Yeah, at this point, I'm going to need you to make me a con save as you have been flying. I'll say you could endure this for maybe a half an hour before you start needing to
12.
12.
I will fly down to if we can see a peak that we can land on.
Yeah. Make me a perception check with advantage as
Natural 20.
Natural 20. Okay. So looking about, you're looking at the cliff faces specifically because you know there's probably a nook or cranny somewhere in there, and you spot one and you start flying towards it immediately. As you guys get inside, you kind of drop him. Your arms are kind of stuck in that position. Slowly lower them. You see the bits of ice and snow crackling off of yourself as you kind of shake it all off. If you had stayed out any longer, you would have suffered effects of cold damage, possibly levels of exhaustion, but nat 20, he spotted shelter quickly. So, just yeet. So now you guys are standing in a well-covered cave. It goes back about 50 feet, so it's pretty spacious. Ceiling's about 80 feet high. You had plenty of clearance for getting in here. As you look about, there's nobody or nothing in here that you see immediately. I know that's, everyone's like, so where's the snake or the dragon?
Where's the frost giant home?
It appears empty and abandoned, unoccupied. So now I'm gonna look up some cave ambiance.
While we land, I will start scratching letters into the ground, and I will spell out the words, do you want me to go out and scout again?
Okay, make me a dexterity check just to see how well you're able to do this.
20 total.
Oh, okay. So with some impressive precision, this robot bird and like scrawls out with one long talon. Scout. Oh, the U's and the V's are tough. Okay, T, easy. And then point.
Well, yes, just for a brief moment is my recommendation. But before you go, I reach into my bag and I pull out like a couple of logs and set them on the ground. Can you... Wait, no, you can't do that, can you? Shit. Put it back in my bag. I'll save that for later, I guess. Well, stay here for a moment, and while we're inside, just to kind of help me warm up, I'm going to again cast Tiny Hut so I can be warm inside of the tiny hut, but that way you can come inside the tiny hut when you get back.
Okay. So you are gonna go scout. You're now looking to see if you can spot what?
From up here, can we still see where the giant is heading?
I would say you left the giant pretty far behind.
Okay.
If you want to gauge what direction he was going, he was kind of circling generally. Like
a fairly large area?
Yeah, he didn't seem like he had a clear direction from what you spotted.
And it wasn't too close to one of the sort of jutting ice pillars?
Those were closer to the top of the range. you guys are kind of like, you saw those, like, they were starting to appear more and more as you got higher and higher.
Okay.
You guys are kind of like, I'll say you're another like 20 minutes flight to get to the top of this mountain range at this point. They become more frequent as you get towards the top.
Looking over the land, as a druid, can I make a nature check to know if that's sort of the sort of a usual activity for a frost giant? Even from what I've heard, I'm curious what my knowledge of the mountains would be as someone who's more in tune with fire than ice.
Fair enough. Make me a nature check.
That is an 18.
18, okay. Thinking about the visual of these ice spires sticking out randomly throughout the mountain range, you imagine that it's not unusual, but it's definitely indicative of something unusual. Okay. To see structures made of ice like that around the presence of frost giants, not that weird. However, I would say what is getting your attention is the number. And they're so far spread out. You would imagine something like that being a little closer. This could mean they're expanding their territory. It could mean that they are preparing for something.
Okay. I at that point, unless I guess the last thing I would do while I'm still flying up, there's an eagle. I would check to see if, once again to see. Well, you said there was no sign of water nearby at all. At least no lake.
You did not spot a lake, no.
Okay. As I'm up in the air, do I spot water flowing anywhere down the mountain? Do I spot any flow of water?
Like a waterfall or something?
Yeah, something showing that water is somewhere near.
Yeah, make me a perception check.
Eagle. Oh.
It was the same thing.
12.
12. At this height and altitude, even with the snow, it takes you the better part of an hour. Okay. So you're chilling inside the tent for quite a while. You do eventually find a couple of waterfalls. They are sticking out of cliff faces a ways away from where you guys have kind of set down to rest. They are out of the mountainside, and as you kind of fly down to get closer, you look at them and you can't really see an easy way into this one, so you look for another waterfall maybe nearby further down. Now this one's too plugged up with ice and everything. You get to about 3/4 of the way around the mountain at this point, and you spot kind of this ravine where you can see one of the largest of them is pouring out, and you see as where a river might have been if it was not as cold. It's currently frozen, but you see somewhere that you guys could probably slip into.
Yeah, at that I will fly back and see how my frozen friend is doing.
Thawing.
Currently he has an itch in the middle of his back that he can't reach.
You're on your back trying to find that rock to scratch it. And suddenly snow-covered eagle head pops in.
I will to talk with you, and my form's running out too. I will transform back into the Warforged, and so you might have been right. I found frozen waterfalls as well as other things in the cliff face underground. Perhaps maybe a tunnel can extend into this mountain and we can find the water we are looking for.
That makes sense.
Create bonfire.
Thank
Sorry,
you.
I forgot about your fleshy needs. The needs of flesh. You are made of flesh. I am sorry.
That is okay. Poor choice of words all around, but that's okay.
Right.
Well, so you found some kind of entryway?
If we want to go outside in the cold again, yes. But if we want to search through the mountain, there may be an easier way.
Well, do we want to try to see if there's an opening at the back of this cave at all?
Is there something? I mean, Is there something you've had some time in here, or have you been in your hut?
I've been in the hut the whole time. I can't leave it, otherwise it goes away.
Oh.
So I've just been in here trying to not freeze to death.
I will go check.
Okay. So, chilling in the hut still.
I will
Campfire.
see if there's a sort of connecting tunnel or something at the end of this.
Make me an investigation check.
Am I better at those? No, I am not. Okay. Here, video. Oh, natural 20.
Oh, god dang. Okay, so you check out this cave. It is unoccupied. With a natural 20, though, you know that is not always the case. As you look about, you see efforts of something large previously having smoothed out the stone in places, kind of, for lack of a better term, punching the pillow into the right shape in a couple of spots. So you know, possibly in the past, frost giants have rested here. You don't see any sign of permanent residence.
Mm.
You look about the cave some more to see if there's anything good or interesting. You find a portion of the cave where, surprisingly, there is water. Not a lot. It's dripping from the ceiling through stalactites into a very small pool that you look down into. It's like...
Is there a flow of some sort, or...?
It's not a flow, it's a very just gentle drip. And it's just kind of collected in this little basin.
Okay. Time Wizard! I don't know if you can hear me, but I found water!
Because who has names for their characters? Not us.
Why bother with names when I can get the point across?
1 second.
Seconds up. What's up?
Oh, no. I need to see.
Sound even penetrate your...
That's what I'm checking. I think it does, but I'm just double checking.
Time Wizard! Can you hear me?
DM override. You can hear him. DM override. You can hear him.
Eventually, I'll walk back and...
No, that's fine. I don't think it actually says, so we're just gonna say yes, it does. So I will then go. Damn it! I have to leave my house. Okay, and I step out of the dome, and it just deteriorates behind me.
An hour chilling in climate-controlled environment, and then a quick minute of bonfire. And we're good. Is enough to ward off the cold.
Yes. So then I will go towards the end of the cave. But you found water? Water?
True. There is some water here. It may continue farther on. I advise that we continue going this way.
Where's the water? I'm just curious.
So this cavern is kind of forward and then a little to the right. It's this basin that's kind of just a little bit further in, and the water's dripping down from a stalactite up top, and there's just this little basin that seems to be collecting it.
I'm going to... Oh yeah, I would probably have one. I'm going to pull out a cup from like my pack and just fill it with the water from the basin and just...
Before you do that, I will pull out my Tarok deck and cast Detect Poison and Disease, because I believe that would be important for you. I am not affected, but you are. Do I detect any... Is this unhealthy, like poisonous or disease-filled? Is my Time Wizard friend about to get super gonorrhea syphilis?
Montezuma's revenge.
I will say, in this case, you don't get a ping.
Okay. It seems to be safe.
Okay.
Okay. As you sip this, you are blasted with flavors you were not anticipating. Mostly citrus, and it goes between tang, tart, sweet, sour, all over the place.
Have you never tasted water before? You look surprised.
I have tasted water, but normally it is not flavored, whereas this is. Do you have taste buds? I know you don't need to eat, but...
Yes, I do.
Jaw opens, water goes down the hatch. You get the same sensation. There is so much flavor here, despite it looking and appearing like just regular old water.
Maybe there is something above us in the roof of cave making citrus deliciousness.
That is probable. I'm going to pull out my water skin and proceed to fill my water skin with citrus water.
Okay.
Cork it, put it away. I have an option. It's not a great option, but I have an option.
Let's hear it.
Hold on. I need to confer with my book just to double check that this works as I think it would.
The larger than normal golf ball floats into existence. Pages begin to apparate.
The last time you said this, we ended up in a wall.
Listen, it was an accident.
Was it?
Mostly. Mostly an accident. I thought I got it to work right, but it did not.
Okay, then. As long as you think it will help.
Okay, so I'm going to ask DM for this. So, the thought I am having is if I cast Gravity Sinkhole in a space not where the stalactite directly is, but kind of a little farther back, it doesn't affect technically terrain, but it does deal damage. And so my question is, could I use the gravity sinkhole to crush the rock above me to make a hole? Because it's a 20-foot radius sphere of crushing gravity.
It affects creatures.
Correct. That's why I was asking.
It affects creatures. It is very explicit. It does not affect
Okay. So
stuff.
then let me check. Does this one do it? Shit, I don't think it does. Fucking... This one might?
Maybe?
So I also have magnified gravity, which this one also technically affects creatures, but it does specify that it does, on your next turn, any object that isn't being worn or carried in the sphere requires a successful strength check against, I guess that's...
Alright, I'll give you this. You gotta cast it at a higher level for it to do what you're describing.
That's fine.
You need to give it some more oomph, because objects versus terrain are two different things.
Yes.
So
let's do... I will cast it at 4th level.
Okay. So roll me damage.
Oh, it's that spell. Shit.
Yes. Watch your head. And then I think it was d8s. Yes. So this will be 5 d8s. I'm going to borrow some of yours. Don't mind me. I only have 2. Okay. That's that. Also that's it. Okay. So total of 19 damage. Because I rolled 3 runs and 2 8s.
Woof. Okay. So 19 damage. You watch as high up above on the ceiling, where this stalactite that is steadily dripping this fluid down into this little basin, you hear the groaning of rock and earth. That steady, as you can see the air almost distorting around the point where you're focusing, and you're like, nothing happens.
Damn it.
It's definitely damaged, correct?
The ceiling begins to collapse just a little bit in that spot where the rock came loose. The stalactite is coming straight down. It is crumbling, so it's not a giant spike, but the tip of it is heading towards you guys. Dexterity saving throw, please.
You no longer have advantage.
Right. That was only for an hour. Okay. 21.
21?
Wait. Hold on. I think it's higher.
17.
No, 21.
What'd you get?
17.
Okay. You guys good. Ceiling is up really high, so you did have a decent amount of time to get out of the way. So, no damage taken. Basin is smashed. Up above, water begins to pour out. The cavern is filled with a wondrous smell of citrus and sweet-smelling fruits. Goes on for a couple minutes, Eventually, it subsides to a steady drip.
Can I, while this is flooding around us, can I do a nature check to see if this is a sort of natural occurrence? See if, like...
Make a nature check, yes.
Oh, that's a 15.
15.
With all the bonuses.
You know it's not natural. You aren't quite sure what it is, but the flavor profile that you're getting is starting to ring a bell. You're going to need a few more clues or prompts to confirm this, but you think that this might be one form of frost giant distilling.
This... I don't have the best remembrance of alcohol, but this might be something akin to frost giant beer, as they call it, or the first stages. Either way, we should get out of here because we just ruined the frost giant's drink.
As you guys look up and the fluid has subsided, there is some light coming from the hole that you have created.
Is it the hole as wide as the radial was, which is 10 feet, or is it smaller than that? Because it's a 10-foot radius sphere that...
It's a little smaller.
Okay.
If it had been any bigger, you may have risked a cave-in of some sort.
Well, do we want to go up or out? My vote's up.
Very well.
Next question. How do we get up?
Hold my beer.
Because I do not have the ability to make us fly in any fashion.
I am checking. I might. You know what? Apparently... Fucking not. What? Do I not have that? I thought I had that. Maybe I can't make us climb the walls. That's alarming.
Let me double check and see if I have something. I don't think so, sadly.
We are good at this.
Down.
We've been adventuring with each other for months, and this is how good we are.
You know, sometimes it's about the journey.
I could turn you into a bird.
How big of a bird? Like as big as you were, or like just like a bird?
I don't think I would have fit into that hole. I can turn you into a smaller bird.
Would you then turn yourself into a bird?
I find a way.
I mean, sure.
How do we not think about something like this?
I'm not utility wizard, I'm time wizard.
Time is as utility as it gets, folks.
And gravity, but don't mind that part.
Well...
I also can't manipulate gravity in the opposite direction, and I call a little bit of BS, but that's okay.
You know what? I can use this instead. I will cast Scrying. And I'm going to use... I sort of pull out one of my eyes, and it's sort of the small crystal ball. And I will...
Like you pull your eye out of your eye socket?
Yes.
Oh, no.
He said what he said.
And I pull it out, and I start focusing on it, and you see the little arcane runes where my retina would be start to glow. No, that doesn't happen. Never mind. That's not how the spell works. It's been a while since I used that. My bad. I can turn you into a bird.
Burp.
I mean... Okay, but can I turn it off, or do you have to turn it off?
I turn it off.
Okay. Is there a way that you can talk to me when I'm a bird?
I yell at you.
Okay, I guess if I caw 3 times, that means release the spell?
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Then I guess bird me?
Polymorph, bitch. And just start chanting, and I cover you in a little bit of soot and ash, and then I keep speaking, and suddenly...
Yeah, none of that stuff was necessary. He just did it to mess with you.
Getting rid of the soot that's just sort of embedded. Rust, everything comes out.
Okay,
So
I am
you're a
now
bird.
bird.
What kind of bird?
Yeah, what bird did you turn me into? Which like eagle, falcon, raven?
I'm gonna say hummingbird because that's gonna be the best for you moving fast and getting out of there if you need to.
Okay. So you're a hummingbird, huh?
Yeah.
I don't think an eagle will. Okay, will an eagle fit in this space?
Not
Well, it's like an
giant.
8-foot circle.
Oh, okay. No, I turned him into an eagle. Sorry, I thought it was a much smaller space.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of like the hummingbird though.
Yeah, no, I turned him into an eagle. Eagles are smart.
Oh, fine. You make him an eagle.
So I am eagle. I'm a blue eagle.
Your thoughts have simplified exceptionally, but you retain your self-perception and goals.
I do that thing that eagles do where they just like kind of stand up and they're doing this and they're like, I'm just like,
Fly. Fly.
right.
Gracefully.
Okay, so I will go up into the hole.
Yep.
And what do I see through the lighted space?
So, now that you're up here, you find yourself in a very disorienting visual like space. All around you it is warmly lit with amber light. The sources are hard to pinpoint. Every time you look to follow them, they seem to move out of your periph, but everywhere in here it's almost tropical. It feels very warm and is in strict contrast to what you guys have been experiencing thus far. This room is stockpiled with what looks like just containers of ice. It comes in very, like, objects of ice that are various shapes. And as you look ahead, the ground is like sand. And the cave interior is like this kind of dark brownish color. That's kind of just what you see as you come into this space. And proportionately, it is massive, very much like the cavern below.
Waddle over to the hole. Caw! Caw! Caw!
Okay, I will dispel polymorph.
Polymorph drops, you are yourself again. A bit more of your senses, you see that there are, you look again at kind of all these containers full of everything, and you realize the ice shapes are large-sized fruit. So you see what looks like might be a pomegranate, a strawberry. You see pear-shaped stuff, watermelon, and these are just generic fruit shapes. This is a fantasy world, so if you want to make up some other convoluted shape or name of a fruit, you see it, but it is made completely out of ice, and they are all in these carts stacked along each other. Behind you, you see where the stalactite had fallen, now hanging over this space, now kind of, it's like this metal attachment that's kind of overhanging, and it looked like it may have held something at one point, but that has now smashed down to the ground.
I look down the hole. Do I notice anything from where the stalactite, like on the top of where the stalactite is? Because did it embed in the ground or did it shatter when it hit the ground?
It all shattered.
Oh.
Kind of with this perspective, you realize that the stalactite was hollow.
Ah, okay. So it was almost like one of the things for like airing wine, almost.
Basically.
What do you see up there?
Lots of ice fruit.
At that, you realize these are Pelosi fruits. So Pelosi fruit is a very unique thing to frost giant culture. They collect fruit from around the lands, and because of their love of ice and cold, they found a way to effectively make this fruit that could grow in the frosty peaks. The only problem is that they could eat it raw off of the branches and stuff. It would have this kind of snapping, fizzing sensation to it whenever they ate it, but if they wanted to make alcohol out of it, they had to heat it up to a certain extent, and it would melt. And in this case, this little distillery pool is kind of like a convenience thing where they could hook it up to the ceiling and it would drip down into the thing below. At over enough time, it would freeze again and become alcoholic. You guys got there during that distillation process while it was collecting. So these little pockets of heat, not a frost giant's favorite thing, but they get a very delicious alcoholic beverage out of it.
How much is there up there?
How much?
A lot.
Yes. There's just a lot. There's multiple carts of different shapes.
Well, it is a very rare drink. Could you bottle some up for the road?
Could I?
You kind of did.
Yeah, I mean I did from the
Okay.
basin. Do you want to come up here? I have a rope.
Oh, yes. Sure.
I don't know if it's that long, but I have a rope. Because how tall was the ceiling?
Yeah.
In the room below me?
Your rope will make it, I guess.
Okay. I will.
Give him a rope.
I'll send a rope down, and then I will affix it to like that metal hook.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that'll be good. So you're able to climb up. It takes you a little bit, cliffs of insanity. Slowly make your way up, and you're hanging in the over this drop, and you manage to kind of swing yourself over, and you're landing. Now you're in this distillery room, and the temperature change is just like that. It's like 70 degrees.
Impressive.
I am intrigued about the whole process, mainly because I'm wondering if I could accelerate it.
Well, we haven't yet found any lakes. But what if this is a lot of liquid? Alcohol does not freeze. It is fruit alcohol, so it is technically more nutritious to the ground. Somehow I will make that justified for myself. But what if we used this instead of some lake? I could not find a lake, but what if we make do?
I theoretically it could work. The problem is you wanted to drain an entire lake. I don't think there's enough of this to equalize to the size of the lake.
Okay.
So you could do maybe like 1/3 of this, and then the rest be water. But I think you would just have a problem with just this amount of stuff.
That is probably true. In that case, do we have another plan? I said there was waterfalls that I found. Should we take some of this and head off to the waterfalls?
Potentially, is there, so in this space, is it completely sealed off up here, or is there an opening somewhere or a door?
There is kind of a threshold opening. There's no door proper.
Why don't we see where that goes first? Because that might just take us to the same place the waterfall does, with less danger, theoretically, because this was already here.
That is a good idea.
Let's do that. Also, I kind of want that pineapple later, so we're going to remember where this is.
Okay.
Very well.
So you guys step out of the distillery room and start heading into the interior. Once again, there's just that snap change of temperature, and it feels like you're back in the cold. There's no wind or breeze, but as you're traversing these gigantic proportion hallways, it feels cold again. You guys continue for some time. There are no forks. There's no lefts and rights. It's just kind of this winding path that you follow for about 20 minutes before it opens up to what you see looks like a snow-domed cavern. You know that just beyond it, you're fairly certain there has to be the outside world. It has to be, you guys may as well be at the peaks, or at least kind of a sub-plateau near the top of the mountain. And sprawled out in front of you is a massive frozen lake. All around this frozen lake, you see giant statues frozen in place. As you look at them, the frosty blue glow of their skin and the light going through them, you realize they are in fact giants, but they are frozen in place.
Shit. Well. Wow. That's a problem.
Yes. So one of two things have happened here. First thing, the giants didn't do this to themselves, and instead something froze them and the lake in place. Or the giants froze the lake and then froze themselves as sentries? Or maybe they froze the lake, but something caused them to also freeze as a consequence? So I guess three things. Two of those things are not good. Especially not good.
Another idea. I pull out the tarot cards again, and this time as one of the... Never mind. Nope, can't do that.
So...
Checks inventory. Never mind.
Look at the cards. These are beautiful cards.
Well, from where we are, how many giants are around this lake? Like 3 or 20?
1, 2, 3, 4, 17, 29. It's a big lake.
It's just a lot.
They're dotted all over the place. Make me a... I want to say perception or insight.
I think those are the same thing for me. Yeah, there. So,
okay.
Doesn't matter.
Either of you can make this, by the way.
15.
Oh, either one of us can
Okay.
try?
Yeah, go for it.
I'll do this one. Nope.
So, one thing you note, you're kind of eyeballing them. You look at one of the ones that's closest to you, and you notice something. It is caught in a sprinting motion away from the lake.
Okay. So, first theory was right. Flash freeze. They were trying to get away from it. Froze them all in place. So, whatever the hell did that, I am exceptionally concerned about. So, do you want to try to see if we can unfreeze it?
I could try my best. I'm going to try and create a bonfire on just the edge of the lake. Does the lake seem to melt at all?
Question 1. What is the range of Great Bonfire?
I was like, I'm pretty sure we're pretty far away. I think it's 60.
I'll say
60 feet.
60 feet. I'll say where you currently stand, you are 200 feet away from the edge of the lake.
Oh.
So you gotta get closer. So
Okay.
I'm saying visually you'll be getting closer to statues, you'll be getting closer to the lake. All around the floor of this place is snow. Hard packed, pretty icy. Not slippery, but that's kind of the terrain you're dealing with.
Does it look like the snow's been here a long time? Can I do like a nature check to
What's
sort of...
your passive nature?
10 plus whatever your nature skill is. Tuesday is
15.
15? Yes, it looks like it's been a while.
This is a dome?
Yeah.
If I look up, is there any way snow could have gotten in?
What do your robot eyes tell you?
Well, there is no way the snow could have gotten in. So...
Probably has to do with how the whole thing and all the people froze, I would assume.
Can I do an arc? No. I will walk forward. Slowly, but walk forwards to see if I can see any signs of something unnatural. So, something like some unnatural way for the snow to have gotten in. So I walk...
Can I try to roll like an Arcana check to see if I would know of a particular type of magic that could do this to this extreme?
Arcana check, nature check.
No.
28.
So, what's your total?
7.
I'm like,
7. You know it's not natural.
Yep.
So a 7 tells you this is normal.
No.
28 with Arcana. You look about the room, you kind of think about the evocations that you know of. There are spells that summon storms. The scale of what you're seeing in this cavern is you stop and think, how likely is it for an entire lake to freeze, for frost giants to be frozen in place? You know it's magic, you don't know the name of the spell, but you know that this is a powerful effect that was enacted. As you guys get closer to the statues in the edge of the lake, you try casting Create Bonfire. It casts. Are you watching to see if it melts the water?
Yeah.
The snow around it melts just fine. You know, over the course of the minute, it's a bonfire.
Yeah.
You watch the edge of the lake, and it melts a little bit, but it's ice versus snow, so it will take a little bit longer. But yeah, it starts to melt.
Okay.
from the distance that we're at and how much the lake melted, can I tell if the lake's frozen all the way through?
Depth?
Yeah.
See the depth? Yeah, make me a investigation check.
Natural 20 for 29.
Okay, you know that it is frozen pretty far down.
Okay.
This is feet and feet and feet of this lake being frozen.
Yeah.
You think maybe towards the very bottom some of it might not be frozen. But this is just you looking down, kind of gauging. Do you have any light spells or anything like that?
Actually, don't think I do. No.
Okay.
I do not.
Yeah, I'll say the depth of the lake is kind of making it hard. You can see the very edges are frozen.
Yeah.
If you went out, you'd think maybe some of the water might still be thawed out. You guys do see at this point that the lake here connects to an exit point at the other end of the cavern, which is completely blocked by these icy prisms, those spires that are kind of sticking out. And the waterfall right there is kind of like stopped up right there. With your Nat 20 investigation, you'd also spot there are a few underground spouts, so places where it kind of drains out.
But they're also blocked up
Yeah.
with ice. Okay. Well, whatever managed to do this did it horrifyingly effectively, because probably minus the very bottom 10 feet of this lake, it's frozen through, along with all of this, and all of the holes are plugged. So
Sufficient, to say the least.
yes, and it has something to do with, and I just point at one of them, one of those, or it has to do with those to some degree, I'm assuming.
Okay.
Do we want to go try to see what that is exactly?
If you check on the crystals for some sort of magic, I can see if these ice giants might still have a chance to live.
Let's try for that.
Okay. If I'm gonna approach one of these ice giants carefully. I don't want to disturb or do anything to it. Can I see if there's any indication of sort of a natural death occurring, or does it still seem like it's just almost in stasis?
You do check for that, and I'll say just with your passive nature check, you know that frost giants, the cold never bothered them anyways.
Okay.
Oh,
Let's go.
oh my gosh, Mom, we're hanging out.
I don't think so.
No idea. Oh, sorry for interrupting. Let me have a conversation with you real quick. Okay, so you look at them. The ice as you get close to it is that it's that eerily clear and slightly frosted texture and coloration. As you're able to see a number of details off of these frost giants, they're very similarly dressed to the one down below in the valley. Now, with one difference. The outfits they're wearing are exceptionally older. The styles are a lot more simplistic. You spot little symbols that would indicate clan or lineage, and it would appear that these are from either clans that are long dead, died out, or just earlier versions. You didn't get a whole lot of details of the frost giant off to the side, but you're seeing these similarities and age differences. And to your question, is it in stasis? What kind of chills you the most in looking at these giants frozen in stasis, or frozen in place, the way that this is done, the look on its face, the sheer panic as it's trying to get away, it reminds you of creatures who have been petrified. And as you're looking at it and you look into its eyes and its face, it can't move, and you don't know, you know the cold wouldn't kill it, but being trapped in just ice, you're not sure if it would survive.
Okay.
But it has been here a long time.
Okay. We don't know about these. Let's go check your crystals. We will come back to these giants.
Yes. I'll go walk up to one of the giant prisms of ice and try to see if there's some type of magical quality or nature to them.
They did not form naturally. You just know that.
Yeah.
They're
the wrong shape for that.
They are not actively magical at this time.
Okay.
You know that it's. I'll say that you know ice and how it works. Kind of investigating it, you're noting that the ice on these prisms is, for lack of a better term, stronger. It is not like your fridge ice. It is very purified and very cold. You don't touch it with your bare hands by any means, but you do note that it's not like if you kind of tap on it with your knuckle, chip at it with a dagger.
Yeah.
It's not giving much.
So are these prisms, are they solid, smooth chunks of ice, or are they like jagged in any fashion?
They are jagged in their overall shape, but along their, like, it is, their placement and everything is jagged, but otherwise it's almost in a isosceles triangle sticking out of the ground of ice that comes to a very fine point of the head.
I see the gears turning. What is your thoughts on this?
Well, the problem is I don't think this would do what I need it to do, because I want to try to get a piece of this thing and analyze it, but given the density of the ice itself, I couldn't just break a piece of it off.
What if you used your weird chrono thing? Could you see if you could alter the time in this area?
Sadly, I don't believe the device would be able to function that way, but let me think it over for a moment. By that, I mean I need to double check.
I could douse this place in fire, but that might be more dangerous than we want.
True.
I'm looking up at the dome. Is it? Well, I mean, so what's the sort of condition of it? We're getting sort of natural light, I'm assuming, from this thing. So we assume it's near the top of whatever it is. But can we sort of gauge if it's, is it in good condition? Is it, see, like, if it's cracked at all? If it's still holding?
Make me a perception check.
17.
17? Yeah, it's a solid dome roof, whatever you're seeing. Good condition, though. You know that frost giants rival their fire giant kin. You know that fire giants love to hang out deep beneath the earth or in active volcanoes because they can handle the heat. They don't need to get out the kitchen. frost giants are very similar to them, and they rival each other. They're very competitive with each other. So the architecture and structure of their bases are comparable. This is what looks like the start to a fortress that was never completed. The dome does not seem to reflect their style.
Doesn't seem to be frost giant.
Yeah, it doesn't quite fit. Something ungiant like.
Oh. What is your thought?
Well, I don't think any ordinary metal's gonna do anything to this. I don't think your fire is going to do much to this thing at all. And I have no idea if this other thing I have would even do anything to it. And I'm worried that if it does do something, it might piss something else very much off.
Well, it's better than doing nothing.
Fair. Let's see if this works. I'm going to pull my book and have it levitate in front of me, and then from the book, you're going to see shadows begin to coalesce from the top of it. And then I'm going to pull a short sword out of it, and it is Shadow Blade. The spell Shadow Blade.
Okay. Shadow Blade.
You weave together threads of shadow to create a sword of solidified gloom in your hand. This magic sword lasts until the spell ends. It counts as a simple melee weapon with which you are proficient. It deals 2d8 psychic damage on a hit, has a finesse, light, and thrown properties.
Okay. What you doing?
I'm going to see if I can use this blade to try to cut a piece of this ice out.
Okay.
So chip it away.
The dark blade wreathed in shadows. You press it against chip, see if it's more effective. What's that?
Okay.
With my explorer's pack, I will take out a hammer and chisel, I believe I have, or hammer and a dagger, and I'm going to see if I can... is that going to dent it at all?
Nope.
No.
That's off.
Okay. If you could please back up for one moment.
I do.
I will create bonfire next to this thing. Does it? Any of the ice seem to melt at all?
Okay. Create bonfire.
Yeah.
You watch it. It is very slow, but it glistens. As soon as the bonfire goes away, freezes up again. But you notice in that spot, it is no longer the same quality. Like, you did something to it, but it is very dense ice.
In the spot that he weakened with the flame, can I try to hit it with the Shadow Blade again?
You give it a whack, and you see that the ice that he kind of disturbed comes off, but there's just kind of a point to where as soon as the effect of his fire no longer reached, like, we're talking like barely a few centimeters that you're able to kind of clear off, but the rest of it is back to that same quality.
With the piece that I took, like, sheared off a little bit of, can I tell if it's just normal water or if there's something else going on with
The
it?
bit that you shaved off?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's more normal water now.
Huh. Snap it.
Well, you think about that. I'm going to try to see if I can de-thaw a little bit of one of those giants.
Fair, just be careful.
And just sort of walking away on my own pace, I'm going to do the create bonfire thing right next to the giant. Does any of his ice melt and then freeze back, or does it melt and sort of stay?
It's a similar situation. You are able to melt it a little bit faster. The ice here seems to be slightly less dense, and it's kind of falling off at a little bit of a quicker rate.
Okay. Wizard,
Yes.
have another idea.
Mm-hmm.
If we need to break this lake, unthaw it, could we break it with something heavy?
I look up. What's directly above the lake?
The
A
dome.
ceiling.
The dome? Do you mean that?
Sure.
Well, what did you mean?
The ceiling.
I mean, maybe? But my only thought is if that is made out of the same thing the rest of the ice is made out of...
Is it?
I don't think it's going to come loose.
I didn't think... Is it made of the same material?
Is the dome made out of ice, or is it made
It's
of...
kind of made out of a mishmash. You see snow on top of what might be clear ice.
Okay. My assumption was that it was a dome of ice.
My thought
given where we are.
As I walk closer to you, my thought was either we use the ceiling or maybe we play Push the Giant and find some way to tip it over. They are heavy enough to break ice.
Probably.
And it might... Who knows? It might break their own ice, waking them up.
Or you might murder them if they're alive. Are they alive? You weren't
I
sure.
don't know.
Okay. Well, I feel like potentially pissing off a bunch of frost giants isn't the best plan, but also...
It will be one way to break the ice.
That was terrible. Your puns are as father-like as always. I see your gnome father taught you well. I think probably the giants will be much easier than trying to drop the ceiling on them.
Okay.
So I guess we can try... you know what? I have one thought. How far apart are these giants from each other? Is it just like one and then...
Domino?
Not quite. I have something that's in a 30-foot cone. Could I hit two of them?
You can try.
Okay.
You can find a pair that are closer.
Okay.
Not this again.
It's not that one.
Oh no.
It's a different one. So I am going to pull out my book, begin to cast the incantation.
I will
And
stand
then-
behind you.
Yep. Good. And then I'm going to, in a 30-foot cone in front of me, cast Pulse Wave. Which part of it is unsecured objects that are completely within the cone are... Okay, so I'd have to be in front of one of them unless two of them were super close to each other. I'm going to say pushed, because that is my objective here. I'm going to try to push them 15 feet. But given that they're stuck upright, if I angle towards their head, will it just push them over?
Snap off of their heads.
Potentially.
Oh no.
Yeah, go for it. See what happens.
Okay, well, I'm going to do that. So then I guess I will roll damage.
Yeah.
How many do you need?
I need one more.
66.
Yeah. We're gonna see how this goes. Okay. So that's 12, 16, 18?
18 total?
18 force damage.
Dude.
I rolled 2 6s, a 4, and 2 1s.
Dude. I keep expecting these, like, high numbers. Ugh, okay, well, that's good, though. Yeah, you pointed at one of their heads, kind of focusing the cone to force the gravity flow to kind of tip this thing over. You guys hear, like, this massive cracking noise that permeates the entirety of the statue. You see all the way up its massive form as the statue slowly lifted off its feet.
Do you speak giant?
No.
Oh,
One topples into the next, and they both fall down. The second one, as it's smashed into, it shakes a little bit, and you see massive fissures form up along its flank. The original one, though, shatters open like an egg, and you see just a little bit of, like, frosty steam come out of the center as the giant in the middle begins to stir.
I will quickly pull out my Tarok deck and cast comprehend languages. That's my last spell of the day.
Okay, you pull out comprehend languages.
This card.
Oh, shit. I think that takes 10 minutes.
Nope, I've already cast it.
Yeah. Well, I was like, I can also do it, so that's why.
It's already happening.
Yeah.
So, you guys both watch as slowly this ancient slumbering giant begins to stir and its eyes open. It looks at the two of you and then looks around at the lake, and it says in this deep, reverberating voice, "Who are you?"
We have come in peace. Quick, can I speak? Oh shit! I can't speak the language.
I think you just understand it.
Is Dashlavir vanquished?
What is that?
We have.
His head whips around as he looks around at the entirety of the lake, and he breathes in slightly, seeing at all of his kin frozen in place. We must go. And he tries to get up, and he starts lumbering towards the waterfall as he takes out a massive great mace and starts smashing against the waterfall. You guys see as these ice spires, locked in place, hold against his heavy blows as he steps away from them, and he looks back towards you guys. You all begin to hear this loud rumbling noise go throughout the entirety of the lake as a good eighth of it begins to start to kind of roll back. I don't know if you've ever seen those videos of like frozen lakes or ocean like coming onto shore. You start to see that like forming backwards towards the center of the lake, and his eyes are going wide as he's looking frantically around. He begins to run towards the exit that you guys had kind of come in through. Icy spires shoot up, blocking the exit as he takes a step back and turns, panic in his eyes. The center of the lake is slowly forming into, and not the whole lake, just like a small portion of it begins forming up into this frozen wave that is like leering out over towards you guys, and you see as it finishes forming, two soft blue eyes begin to glow as it undulates and crackles in this large cacophony of ice and iceberg shattering noises. We're going to take a break there, and when we come back, we'll be rolling initiative.
Okay.
Okay then.
Hello, and we're back. So, we left off our Warforged Druid and our Time Wizard awoke a sleeping frost giant who immediately said, "Is Dashlavir vanquished?" They said, "Huh?" And he said, "Oh shit, we need to fucking run." Ran to the exit, tried to smash his way out, couldn't, ran to the other exit, and it closed up on him. As within the center of the lake, the ice began receding like frozen glacier layers backing up, slowly forming this massive overhanging wave that now looms ominously over their group. I need initiative rolls, y'all.
And you still get a +8.
Yep. Then less than 8 hours.
Or D8.
Is it D8 or plus
It's a
8?
D8.
D8, okay.
Alright, let me see if I can pull up some battle music, but maybe not have it blast over the audio too much. I'll learn to overlay this eventually.
I'm probably going first.
Probably. Okay, that's not too bad. Alright, so I'll need to, in order to kind of help with the visual here, folks,
Oh, I had that spell the whole time.
I'm gonna have to
So stupid.
change my camera off, and I'm gonna have to keep it on the guests, because that's just how life be sometimes.
You know what I just
give me
realized I
just a
have?
moment.
Create or destroy water.
There we go. The camera should. Come on, work with me here. Stinking glare in this room is killing me.
We should do this. So what exactly is it?
There we go. So,
Where's it coming off? Oh, just the ceiling.
It's just reflecting off the ceiling. So this block is gonna make up the size and shape of the creature you guys are facing, and let's see here. This will represent your giant ally, or at least you presume him to be an ally.
Yeah, we can use these.
Yep.
And then I'm gonna initiative for Frost Giant Bro, and he got a 4, so he's not going first.
I guess, where do we want to be?
And
I mean, we're sort of next to him, right?
Oh, that's true. Oh, shit. There he goes.
The other creature did not get a great roll either. It got less than the Frost Giant.
I'll be Trident Man,
Okay.
and you can be Crossbow Man.
Okay, so it's gonna go. What's your initiative?
25.
17.
Yeah, you guys beat the giant and the thing. So, Time Wizard, you're up first.
And then we just used my my too many Shane.
Okay. And let's see how well is that show on the battle cam? Okay, good. And I don't have my regular markers on me, but I've got my backup ones on me. Here we go. So to kind of let's see, would it help to have it up here maybe?
A little bit.
I think you can see it a little bit better. It's the figures are smaller, but that just kind of helps with the proportions we're dealing with. So we'll say this is the edge of the frozen lake.
Okay. And then
imagine, if you will, there are frozen giants dotting the landscape all around. So.
Okay.
I don't have any of my stuff in here prepared. I was too busy trying to get cameras to do their job. Oh well, we're rolling with it, folks. So top of the round, Time Wizard, what are you doing?
I am going to fuck it. We're gonna start off with bang. I just need to see, just to make sure. Yep. Okay. I am going to cast Gravity Sinkhole.
Okay. Gravity Sinkhole. Where are you centering this?
It's a 20-foot sphere at a range of 120 feet. So
Okay.
probably pretty much is like on it, because it's a
Alrighty.
little bead that it starts off as and then crushes.
Okay.
So the wave needs to make a Constitution saving throw and beat a DC 17.
Okay. So, it got a broken 20.
Okay, so it saves.
Okay. So is that
So,
still half though?
Yep. Okay. Oops, wrong one. I need 10s.
D10s. I got you, boo.
Here you go.
Where the hell are my...
That's 4.
Thanks. That's all I need. I just needed 5.
Okay.
I don't know where my other one is, and that's worrying.
I also got a spare set here just in case.
Okay, not grand. So that's 12, 13, 14, 16, reduced to 8, force damage.
16 reduced to 8 force damage. Okay. So,
Rolled like garbage.
okay, it's the first roll. So, gravity sinkhole is the spell you use.
Yep.
So you reach out and you point at a place like somewhere in the center of its mass, and its blue eyes kind of look down as all of a sudden the light throughout the air becomes distorted. You see the ice beginning to shatter and break off of its form right in the center, as all throughout it you see this wave of ice sheets, all like compact and layered on one another, hanging over and looming ominously in your guys' direction. You see the air collapse and you see it shudder a little bit. You're not sure how effective it was. You felt like that was just kind of your first shot to kind of gauge what you're up against as it continues to surge upward as the ice flows along its form. So that's your action. You gonna move at all?
Yeah, I'm gonna back up 10 feet.
Okay, alright. All right. Okay.
So that way it is 60 feet away from me, and I am a little less in danger. Because I am Wizard, which means I am Squishy Boy. And then that's magic connection. That will be my turn.
Okay.
Hey. Darn it, phone. That was not the time to be going off with your nonsense.
Following up with that, I will turn and I will look and I will say, well, shit. And I will back up 10, 20 feet, and I will start unleashing scorching rays, so my copper skin will start to heat up, and then 3 scorching rays just sort of shoot out from my hands.
Okay, so you point your arms in the direction of this mass as your scorching rays go lancing out. What level do you cast the spell at?
Second level.
Second level, so base.
Yep.
Okay, so 3 rays of fire go lancing out and trying to strike at this tidal wave of ice.
That is a 20, a 14, and a 17?
17 to hit.
Yeah, since it's 3 separate attacks.
Yeah, all hit.
14 hits?
Yeah.
Okay. 26.
It's like shooting at the broadest side of the broadest barn. Pretty hard to miss this thing.
7. That'd be 21 fire damage in total, as each one just sort of impacts and leaves a mark in the ice.
Okay, you see as the beams of fire go shooting out and pierce into different parts of the wave. The fire burns, and then you see the rays continue past it out its back. How much total was that?
21 fire damage, what I said.
Okay. I'm gonna need a calculator. I'm not good at quick math. Okay. You see nothing. So don't look at my screen. You see nothing. You know not the danger of which you face.
Don't worry, we're distracted by our own terrors.
You're distracted by the giant tidal wave of ice. So that is your action.
It is, and I moved back, so
Okay.
I want to be farther back from our wizard friend.
The frost giant is going to steal his resolve and take up his great axe. Sorry, I said great mace earlier. It's great axe. I totally said great axe earlier. I don't know what you're talking about. He's going to take his great axe and go charging forward as he reaches down to pick up a boulder out of the snow-covered terrain. He hucks that first, dealing. Yep, he hits it. So he does some damage. A little bit. Oh, I need d10s now. That is 9, 11, and 15 plus 6. So he does 21 points of bludgeoning damage to this guy. And then he's gonna go charging in with his great axe and take a swipe at the thing.
How much movement does he have?
He's got some movement. He's got 40 feet.
20, 25, 30. Oh yeah, he can. Yeah.
Yep, he can get there. And he's got reach. So he takes a swipe at it, and even with a 7, he's able to hit this thing. And he does 4, 9, and 12 plus 6. So another 18 points to it. So he starts hacking at this thing desperately, looking over his shoulder at you two as he does so, hoping you're not gonna fucking abandon him. As this thing is looming overhead, it begins to move.
Oh crap!
Yeah.
But I engulf this poor man.
This poor man. Where
And
the
my
heck is
solution for that.
my? All right, so let's see, what's he gonna do? He's gonna use multi-attack in a moment.
Okay. Didn't read up on it before I sent it.
It's better that way.
Okay, so he's going to move past the giant.
Oh
5,
no.
10. How much is its movement? I don't think it can move much.
80.
15, 20. It gets to the very edge of the lake. It can't reach you guys, unfortunately. So, yeah, because 5, 10, 15. Nope. It's going to swipe twice at the giant. That's a 19 to hit and 16 to hit. Both are going to hit.
Reroll that first one for me.
Are you guys going to use one of your lefts?
I'm using my Chronal Shift.
They're 2 16s to hit them.
Damn. Okay, still hits it.
How many rolls do you have?
I can do that twice. Okay. But it takes
so
a
it's a
thing for me to do it.
7, 3, so 10 plus 4. Frost Giant's going to take.
This might work. Have one last resort. If everything goes wrong.
Okay, so he takes 13 points from the first hit, and then another 8 points. And he needs to make a couple of strength saving throws as this creature attempts to grapple him. Oh, it also, he takes... Oh no, he wouldn't take that damage. He's a fucking frost giant. Never mind. Okay, so he's fine on that regard, but he needs to make strength saving throws. Let's see.
Terrifying. Okay.
He failed on the first one. That sucks. Okay, so he is now considered grappled by this tidal wave. Its form crashes down on him, showering him with ice, and he takes piercing damage from all that. And he is now not quite encased, but he's surrounded by this mass of ice plates that are just grating and crushing around him as he's holding his arms tucked in at the sides, trying to force his way out, and he's looking over at you guys desperately. That's his turn. Okay, back to the top of the round. Time Wizard, what are you doing?
It's a fantastic question. I'm going to... We're going to see how this goes. I am going to cast Mind Spike.
Oh, okay.
So...
Intelligence save?
That's I'm double checking. Wisdom saving throw.
Wisdom, huh?
Yep, and he has to be a 17.
Got a natural 1. Okay, what happens to this boy?
So give me a moment. I'm also casting this at 4th level.
Ooh. So that's not the cantrip, huh? That's the
No, this is the actual spell. Mind Spike.
I'm thinking
Because Mind Splinter is the other one. Or Mind
Show me
Sliver
what
is
you
the
got.
other one. Okay, so just double check. Okay. So then it would be I need D8s. Oh, wait, no.
You already used mine. Here. Okay.
Cool.
That's all I got.
Do you have a D8 I can borrow over there, Shane?
Yeah, I got you.
I need a D8.
Right, yeah.
Like, okay. So
Also, got another texture I should be using.
okay, so that's 10. Okay, and that is 30 psychic damage.
Oh, wow.
And then
Whipped him.
I will always know where the target's location is until the spell ends. If it becomes invisible, it doesn't matter to me.
Okay. Interesting note when you cast the spell and this effect comes into place. This creature is gargantuan. And while it can only coalesce itself, thank you. It can only coalesce itself to a certain degree. For this thing to completely move its entire mass would be unbelievable. You know that it permeates for a while. There's a connection somewhere else that you can sense just because of how far spread out it is. But you know that you guys are attacking essentially the apex of this thing.
Okay.
So if you destroy it here, that will dissipate it. Everywhere else it is reached out.
Okay. Concerning, but okay.
Yeah. It's kind of one of those things where it's kind of like the Pacific Rim logic of this thing is so big you need to have a good enough brain to control it.
Yes.
You know, so.
Okay, so there's that. And then touch him. Shit. So, as a point of just making sure I understand, the frost giant is currently inside of the wave, or just being held by it?
He's technically, he would be grappled, but he's only restrained. Reverse that. He would be restrained, but he's only partially grappled. Because he's a giant, this creature is not able to completely hold him, but his movement speed is reduced to 0, and his ability to fight is hampered.
Okay. This is a terrible idea. I'm going to get right there, directly next to our giant friend, which I accidentally pushed him. And I am going to then. Oh wait, no, shit, can't do this. Shoot, I forgot. Just can't cast 2 spells in the same round. Aha.
Yeah, spell and a cantrip, bud.
Yep. I think all these are actions. 1 moment, sorry. So I forgot about that. Yeah, okay, so I'm not going to do that. But I am still going to move forward a little bit. So then,
Dang it, I keep closing my phone.
Here?
I just did it again. I'm smart boy.
15, lovely. Okay, yeah, I will go there, get a little closer, so I can then help Homie out if he needs it. And I will also pull out of my coat a cylinder device that has a whole bunch of mooring mechanisms and clockwork components in it. Can't quite tell what it is because of how I'm holding it, but that is what I'm holding in my hand.
Okay. Is that your,
Yep.
That's the thing. Okay. You got that out.
Just in case I need to use it.
Okay. So, it's your turn. Wildfire Druid, Robot, go!
Okay, I am going to use my last heroic use of the day, and I'm going to impose... Can you roll a percentile die?
Alrighty. You know, for this one, I really want the ball, and I don't think it's in the room right now. Give me a second, folks. I gotta get the Sphere of Destiny.
Well, this will help considerably. Unless this fight takes an hour.
Oh god, I hope not.
Nope. I hope not, because this only lasts for an hour. But it has disadvantage on attack rolls, ability checks, saving throws.
Is it Bane?
No, it's fate.
Oh.
I am twisting fate.
Oh.
And maybe releasing something terrible.
In 100-mile radius. Up to 100-mile radius.
Yep.
You know when your parents tell you to clean up your room all the time and you don't listen to them?
I mean, I can roll, or do you want me to? Do you want
Oh,
roll?
I just like the big ball,
Okay.
but I can't find it anywhere. So, okay, so 75.
It's safe.
Dang it! Okay, so what happens?
I'm twisting its fate. So the creature has disadvantage on attack rolls, ability checks, and saving throws.
For the next hour.
Ooh, dang. Angry Druid. Okay, so
I didn't release anything evil upon the board.
you pull out the deck and trepidatiously draw a card and call forth woe unto this creature. Look at the card, nothing bad happens. You see a dark shadow overtake the tidal wave of ice, and all throughout you see as its form kind of quivers for a moment and twitches back and forth. It doesn't seem to know what just happened, but you know that it's not reacting. And you notice as the giant seems to be gaining headway on escaping its grasp.
It's back in my bag.
So, that brings us to Frost Giant. Now, Frost Giant is going to swipe. Hang on. He's going to swipe twice. He is technically grappled, so it's with disadvantage. But this thing's not hard to hit, so he's going for it. That's one hit. And that's 2 hits. There we go.
Does it taste citrusy?
Oh god, I just had
A little.
So that's 3, 8. Ooh.
I just
22 plus 6, so 27.
I just have some of it in my pocket.
And 1. Ooh, there we go.
Fantastic. Please do that. Please gather some.
3. Another
Scoop it in
23
the jar.
points.
Yeah.
Probably would.
He's hacking into this thing and manages to break free out of its grasp. He's no longer grappled per se, but he's still in very close proximity to this thing. He doesn't move though. He's holding his ground as he looks over at you guys, seeing you're still sticking to the fight. You guys notice as more and more of this ice just keeps wafting up towards this thing. It's so big. This is a fucking tidal wave, but you guys are clashing with it. As it goes to swipe, you see that shadow pulse through its pseudopod, as it will, as part of the wave that tries to reach out and smack the frost giant. It pulses and it makes the attack with disadvantage. So that was 8. So just misses on the first strike. It swipes down, and there's that moment where the shadow pulses, and the wave pseudopod falls forward too short to hit the frost giant. It swipes again. Ooh. Okay, it succeeds this time. Whap. And he's gonna do some damage to this guy.
About that.
You gonna have me coronal shift?
No. You see me switch the cylinder into my offhand, or into my right hand, and then pull out my book again. And right as I do,
A reaction spell?
yes, you see it flip to this page right towards the end of the book, and right as it does, a small little bead of light comes out and goes flying into the wave. I cast Temporal Shunt.
Are you eating the...
Why is that a reaction spell?
So you target target the triggering creature, which must succeed on a Wisdom saving throw.
Okay, so let me check one thing real quick. On +4, so that would have been 20.
That's
Okay.
reaction? Dear Lord.
Yep.
Okay, so it needs a Wisdom saving throw.
I'm
Yes.
comfortable with that. At
What
disadvantage?
is the DC?
It's 17 and it's at disadvantage.
Good thing it was at disadvantage because it rolled a 17 and an 8.
Oof.
So, with an 8... Oh,
Unless it has a +9.
it has a +10.
Oh, son of a bitch.
This is a very unique monster to be fighting with.
Okay.
Does it not do anything?
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah, because it's only. Otherwise, it would have vanished, being thrown into another point in time.
Yeah, this is Time Wizards. Time Wizard bullshit. That was so close. I'm so
Upset.
sorry that it has such a high wisdom.
I'm upset.
Alright.
It's fine. It's just my 5th level spell. It's whatever.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. That's how dice work.
I'm sorry, but okay.
Time wizards work.
That said, the
Fucking
frost giant
bullshit.
takes
True.
20 points of bludgeoning damage as it gets slammed down. This time the creature tries to engulf it again, but the frost giant, after it gets knocked back, it takes a knee and then comes back up and swings its great axe in 1, 2, 3 swipes and blocks all of the ice off of it. It shatters to the ground and begins moving back towards the tidal wave, but it looms over it ominously, turning its attention fully towards him.
Oh. I dislike the wave turning sideways. Just a giant gelatinous wave moving.
Alright, why is that? There we go. That's its turn. Top of the round. Time Wizard, what you gonna do?
I'm upset, but this is fine.
It's fine. Everything's fine. This is fine.
You know what? Screw it. I'm going to use my cylinder. I'm going to attempt to activate Time Bandit.
Okay. So, let me look at your item again. Have these travel. Yep.
Okay. So that's that one. Okay.
Oh no, you've got the.
I have the chronometer.
Yeah, say that 50 times fast.
Nope.
Yep.
I already messed it up.
All right, what'd you get?
I rolled a 4.
So you get to give yourself.
Forward warning.
Yeah, you get to give yourself a re-roll on a failed check,
Yes.
and you can take the better of the results. That said, other stuff happens as well.
Okay.
That we'll get to later.
Okay. So I'm
Wanna
going to
finish up this fight for now.
Yes. Kenzo, if you will give me a hand real quick.
Yep.
Can you move me adjacent to our large friend there? And then that's good. And then as a question, when I saw my metallic-y friend use fire on this wave, did it seem to do good damage?
Real good.
Okay. Then I'm going to, as my bonus action, cast Dragon's Breath on the giant.
Ooh.
And give him Fire Breath.
Dope.
So he can, on his turn... I'm sorry. I can't do fire. Okay, good. Is an action. He can exhale a 15-foot cone of fire damage. That will do, since I didn't specify the level beforehand, it'll just be, it'll be 3d6 of fire damage.
Well, nothing's been resolved yet if you want to cast it at a higher level.
Okay, I will cast it then at level, I'll use, I think that's my last one. No, it is not my last one. Okay, that is fine. Then I will cast it at 4th level. And it will do 5d6 damage on a failed save, and the creature will have to make a dexterity saving throw for the breath attack.
Okay. Dragon's Breath at 4th level, so he's going to cast it. He's going to get to roll 5d6.
Correct.
I'll have you roll that because it's fun.
Yeah. So one thing that you would have seen, my metallic-y friend, is you'd see me open my book once again, and then pull a hot pepper from my pocket, and then drop it into the book, and then watch me stick my hand into the book, hit the giant, and then all of a sudden you see because I'm super short in comparison to the dude, you see a flame-like symbol appear on his leg, and then travel up his torso and rest in the center of his chest.
Ankle tattoo, great.
Yes. I gave him an ankle tattoo very briefly.
Okay, so the giant is confused.
Yes.
He notices that there is something weird sitting in his lung/stomach, and he's kind of looking down and senses you've slapped him.
And I say, just take a really big breath, big guy, and just...
He goes, and as he's preparing for his turn...
and then I will, then for my actual main action, I'm going to...
Bonus action too?
Yeah, that was just a bonus action, is the Dragon's Breath.
That's a bonus action, oh my god!
Yes, for my actual action, I am going to... I'm already fucking here. Hold on.
We're here now.
I have no idea if this is going to work. We're going to see what happens. I am going to point my finger at him and cast Sapping Sting. So you watch a little black needle appear at the end of my finger and fire into this wave.
Okay.
I need you to make a Constitution saving throw for me.
At disadvantage.
Correct.
That was a...
Total?
16.
Okay. I don't know how this is going to work. This is going to be fun. So he takes 2d4 necrotic damage.
Alright.
That's 3 damage total. And he falls prone?
He cannot fall prone.
Damn it. Okay. That's what I thought, but I figured I'd try.
Yeah, sorry. That's just one thing where it's like, he don't got legs. I don't think he can really fall. He can be horizontal, I guess, briefly before getting back up automatically.
I mean, yeah.
You make him do the tube.
Yeah,
like,
there we go.
Kind of tubes. You get an awesome tube. If you had a surfboard and weren't in dire jeopardy, that would have been a great moment to like surf along the inside of an ice tidal wave.
Yep, that is what I tried to do. That is my turn.
Alrighty. Drew, what you got?
Concerned by everything, I pick up some stones and some random debris, and I cast Magic Stone on a couple of these items. Three rocks in particular, and then I will take one in my hand and I'll just chuck it at it and try and hit it. No, that's a natural one.
Sorry, bud. You missed you stormtrooper. You stormtrooper real hard. Alright. Anything else?
No, that's both my action and my bonus action. I got two more stones.
Frost Giant's gonna take a deep breath. The
Creature.
The creature needs to make a dex save.
Dexterity saving throw.
At disadvantage because fuck them. That definitely fails. His dexterity is -3. So, give me that sweet, sweet fire damage.
Okay. God damn it.
You can only roll a low and high. There's no middle.
Okay, so that is 14. That is 16 fire damage.
Okay, so
belted out of this giant's face.
the frost giant looks disgusted as it takes a deep breath, and fire gouges out of its maw and pours over this tidal wave. You see a visible reaction as the flames curl up all along the arms of the wave, trying to reach down and melting away quickly before the flame. This mass now has been reduced significantly. You see as the ice is not moving as quickly. You see as the eyes seem to be dimming and pulsing oddly. You see as the arms that were moving very quickly and furiously are now sluggish and not as determined. You think you're making headway against this creature. That brings us to, and that's as a bonus action for the giant?
No, that is his action, but he can do it continuously for the next minute.
Okay. That brings us to the Ice Nami's turn. Ice Nami is going to... The Ice Nami is going to concave itself, forming a small, relatively smaller dome shape.
I don't like that.
I
It's
need
a defense position.
I need you both to make Constitution saving throws. As it begins to swirl and churn, and you see ice particulates forming around it.
Okay.
And I need to roll for the ice giant.
Oh, okay. I'm probably fine.
Oh, buddy. Ice giant, no. No, buddy.
What's the save?
What'd you get?
I got a 19.
12.
You and Ice Giant are going to take the full brunt of this.
Okay.
Am I taking damage at all?
Yep.
Okay.
Probably half. It's a
Mainly,
con afterwards.
I have to make a concentration check for the dragon's breath. That's what I was asking.
Where is... Oh, that's one. Darn it. Can I borrow D6s there, friends?
Yeah. Here's
So I don't have to
5
move.
of them.
Thank you.
There's one. Oh god, I don't like how many this rolling.
So that's...
I am concerned.
6, 7, 8. Okay, so that is...
Maybe I need to use this as my 5th level spell.
7, 12, 14, 13, 15, 17, 18. Okay. Did I say 17?
18.
18, thank you. 21, 29, or sorry, 27, 30, 32, 36, 39, 44, and 46. So, 46 points of piercing damage as all throughout the room, the ice particulates suddenly turn into those spires of ice that go lancing out. They're tiny and needle-like, but they hurt like a beeswax all throughout the room. In addition to, I don't need the D6.
That was 46 piercing?
46 piercing.
Does he get halved because he...
If you saved, you're taking half of this.
Okay.
Thank God he's not going to die in one hit.
Yep.
And in addition to anyone who failed to save, you take
Roll higher than...
and 24 points of cold damage.
Okay.
Okay.
which ignores resistance.
Okay.
And then I did my concentration check for my Dragon's Breath. Got a 15, so I'm fine. Because it was 23 for me, and then it's half that to succeed,
Yes.
which would have been an 11, and I got 15. So,
Solid.
still
You managed to hang on to the breath. Giant friend looks hurt.
yeah.
So minus.
I mean, I'm not thrilled either. That was a third of my health.
That was
Probably
was
like half of yours.
Oh, more.
Okay. Wait, how much total? It was 46 from the first thing. What was the ice
Yeah.
damage?
Your frost giant friend is pierced in many places with these spires of ice, and his movements are slowed. His arms are quaking with pain as large droplets of giant blood fall to the ground. That's the waves bitch ass turn. That brings us to top of the round. Time Wizard.
Yeah, we're gonna do this again. I don't like that.
I do not like that.
So. Oh, that's right. This is just saving
I can't
throw.
put you in a cavern with an ice tidal wave without something nasty hitting you.
I don't have to worry about making an attack roll, so I can do this in his face. I am going to, because I'm also worried about trying to walk away from this fucking thing. I am going to again open my book, coalesce a shard of psychic energy, and just throw it into this thing.
Okay.
I'm casting Mind Spike at 4th level. That is my fourth level spell.
Alright, wisdom save.
That is correct, my good sir.
Disadvantage.
Yes.
That's a... Yes! Okay, he rolled a 7 and a 4. So,
Okay, so
14 fails.
Cool. So then...
Got him!
Let's see here. That is going to be... I need more d8s.
I need lower.
I need 3 more total.
There's 2.
Okay, cool.
Alright, let's hopefully try to wrap this up quickly.
Okay. I can try.
Well, I'm just saying it's 5 o'clock. I don't want to keep you guys here indefinitely. So
Okay, that is 27 damage.
27
Psychic damage.
psychic damage. Okay, once again, you see as large chunks of this creature start cascading, and the eyes go out completely and reopen, but far dimmer as it is slowly receding into the lake.
I just go, can you fuck off now, please?
Okay.
And that's my turn.
Okay.
Guess, you know what? I guess that was...
One more thing I'll do is I'll pat the giant on the leg and just say, don't worry about the arms, just breathe hard.
Okay.
Thumbs up again.
It barely acknowledges you as it's just in so much pain
Yeah.
right now.
I can't help him with that, but I can be like, you got this, buddy.
You got this, you got this, you got this.
Please don't die, please don't die, please don't die while I'm next to you.
Okay.
I don't want to be crushed by your body.
Okay.
What you got? What you got? What you
As
got?
my bonus action, I will use up my last wild shape to summon my wildfire spirit.
Ooh.
It's the small shape of a gnome, my old gnomish master. He appears. I don't use my D4s right now. He appears right there.
That's a perfect color. It's like a fiery amber. I don't know if you guys can see that. Here, let me see if I can yank my camera into behaving a little bit. It's just not close enough. You can kind of see it. Let me hold it up. Hang
Can
on.
you make a dexterity saving throw?
Look at that.
Can the
Beautiful.
slime make a dexterity saving throw?
It's not a slime.
The wavy thingy.
The wavy thingy, huh? Oh,
The
man.
giant ice wave.
Hey, you remember that
abomination.
time I went to school for how to deal with cameras? Yeah, me neither. I will get this room. I've got LEDs. I'm gonna. Oh, come on, you. I've got the tripod is like B3. It is a sassy thing. Oh, look at that! It's staying put now. Dexterity saving throw.
Yep. At disadvantage.
That's a 2, and that's a 16. So
Okay.
it does not.
You
It's
take-
-1.
You take 9 fire damages. A burst of flame erupts. And as my action to... Seeing it's not looking the strongest, I will just start chanting wildly. And I will...
I am a concern.
Yes.
Because
You
I'm also right
should
next to
be.
this thing. Fireball.
Shouldn't hit you. No. I can aim it. It's big enough. I cast Flame Strike.
Oh.
So
Oh.
I chant, and as I throw up a pinch of sulfur, a 40-foot pillar of fire erupts from midair and just strikes down on this creature.
Okay, here's the thing. I hate to kill the dice rolling fun, but how do you want to do this?
I'm just going to have this pillar just appear and just as high as, just straight through it, through the ice in the lake, just show up, erupt, and just have this thing just melt and just disappear.
So, I'm going to transition back to being seen now, because I need to feed my ego, obviously.
As radiant and actual fire burns it to just melts it.
So, you guys see as your little flame gnome bursts forth and does a little bit of damage, curling up along the side of its flank, and you kind of seeing that it's just barely holding on. You begin chanting underneath your breath in that low rumbling voice, coalescing above this gargantuan-sized tidal wave of ice that's just swaying and falling apart. The room almost darkens as the contrast of the light formed by the fire dims all of your vision, and then this column of flame just erupts straight down, and in a swirling mass of fire as the creature tries to escape but stay together is just pulled into the center of this column of burning flame, slowly receding into a pile of mesh and snow that slowly becomes still. And you guys have defeated the ice tsunami.
Is there still, some of it just, quivering on the ground?
There's nothing of it that is moving. It's
just jello on the floor?
Yeah, basically.
I'm going to pull a jar out of my bag and scoop some of it up into the jar.
Okay. So, interesting to note, the creature, the smell that you get from it's that a little bit of that citrus, but a little bit off. I'm going to kind of streamline the narrative here at this point. So, as this creature dies, the cavern seems to shift a little bit. And you notice as the hard-packed ice that you thought you had been walking on is actually sand. And the frost giant explains that this creature was embedded into the mountain, and it was right next to this lake that was growing tropical fruits within the lake. Oh. The reflection of the sunlight over the mountain, it formed this very unnatural biome that the frost giants were going to start taking advantage of. They hadn't intended to mess with the fruit or anything, they just wanted to make their Palasi fruits up at the top of the mountain, while this place could produce the tropical fruits that they wanted to enjoy. The lake provided great water, however, they didn't realize that there was something within the mountain, and when they came nearby and started altering the terrain a little bit, it disturbed the creature, and then it froze over the whole area and the dome, and it began attacking them in an instant. And only a few of them ever managed to escape. The frost giant down around the mountain was looking for a pathway into this cavern. It was lost to time and has been here for quite a while now. As you go to sleep, you experience the effects of a spell that dissipates immediately, as this creature had been poisoning the fruits and distillery throughout the mountain, as well as the water, and that was how it started to draw the frost giants up to it, into this little oasis, how it started to draw other people and creatures over millennia. But now that you have kind of vanquished its head, you guys are able to get out of there. You don't know if it will stay dead, as it was such a massive creature, but you definitely subdued it for now.
And I now have a jar of it.
You know though, that the creature Dash Valir is not what you just fought. The frost giant kind of vaguely omits to something they angered. Possibly responsible for what happened, you're unsure, but for now, you have survived.
Okay.
Well, that happened.
Correct. You now have a jar of terrifying waves.
Yes. I do plan to see what I can do with this. I want to see if I can grow it.
Oh,
I want to see if I can keep it as a pet.
I do have some qualms with that, as
I mean,
my
not
order
now.
intends.
Not now, but one day. I'll put it in I'll grow it in an extra place where your nature won't be hurt. I'll get to that point. That's a later take.
Do you set about releasing the lake to try and get it to flow down the mountain and clear
I
out?
would worry with, as long as I know the giants are alive, I would actually help them first, because I do want to preserve nature first, and if they are alive, I'll see if I can release them.
Okay,
I'll do what I can too with some gravity stuff, just see if I can crack the shells.
It's mostly just a question of getting them out of the statues, and the other giant is able to help. So over the course of the next day or so, you guys are able to resuscitate the other giants. The water clears significantly. It begins to melt rapidly as the heat beneath it is no longer subdued.
Okay.
With their help, you're able to kind of direct the flow of the lake and create a channel that heads out into the valley below where you're trying to cleanse the land.
Before I do that, I do want to make sure that the water itself doesn't have much residue of this creature left. I do not want to spread this creature.
You check it and it's clear.
Okay, then yes, I would.
It coalesced in this lake. It was like the focal point, so the extent of its influence was shattered there. And so while it could reach throughout the mountain range and a little bit through, beyond, that was kind of like you pulled the root bulb up.
Okay. Then I would consider this a job well done.
Yes.
How heavily are you bleeding?
I'm actually mostly fine right now. I mean, it's also, been a day or so the sleeping's good.
You guys have had time to recover.
Okay.
Frost giants, while not super friendly, are definitely grateful for you guys giving them a hand.
I do walk up to the one that we initially got out of the thing. Because he's the only one I would have missed. Or is there a specific leader one that would have walked up to us at some point to talk to us, or is it just kind of
the one that you freed initially? It's probably.
I would walk up to him and ask him. So I have an odd question for you. I'm trying to find things, and I pull out the cylinder again, and say similar-ish to this. The next piece, I believe, would have been a bit smaller and more disc-shaped. Do you have one of those? Do you have it by chance, or do you know of something that might keep an artifact for jumping through planes?
He kind of looks at you like you're crazy, because you kind of are.
Yeah.
But he speaks to some of his kin, and they discuss it amongst themselves. And in short, he describes that knowledge of what you're talking about is something that's not kept within the frost giant circles, but perhaps some of their cloud kin, stone kin, or even storm kin would be able to guide you. And he gives you, it is a giant article, so it's pretty large. It's like the size of a sewer plate, but he gives you an item, kind of a sigil marking you as Frost friend, essentially. You've earned enough respect that it's a rune that conveys the idea of ally or to be trusted.
Yeah.
So if you take that to one of their kin and present it, you might get an audience. They might be willing to converse with you and make a deal of some sort. So not the item,
but it might help. So
another clue on your journeys. And that's where we're going to leave off for today's episode. I thank you all again for your patience. Any thoughts, wishes, wants, ideas, feedback, I welcome it. And I thank you all for your time, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. And perhaps not this episode, you might give us one more shot in the next one. Thank you very much. Bye.